Dr. Nicole Robbins. How are you doing today?
Hello, it is a lovely day to be discombobulated.
Yeah, and it's we kind of talked about this before we got on. It's Monday, right? You reserve your Mondays to just kind of refocus and reshuffle. You got a ton of stuff going on, don't you?
When don't I? But
Yeah.
yes, the plate is full and the knife and fork are sharp and ready to eat. So I've
So
never said
dig.
that before, but this is a really quick way to realize that I'm really just a huge nerd. So we just
Yeah.
exposed that right away.
And you know what? Now I feel more comfortable because I'm
Yeah,
just like full nerd. So,
yeah. Well,
you're building a practice right now. Like, how is that going? Like, that is, that it just seems like a monumental task. We talked about like, you said that you think that it's going to be ready or started in, 6 months, all these timelines.
yeah.
How's that going? How's your stress level with that?
I have extremely learned to lean into the uncomfortable and to just really be prepared for the unexpected. And 2024 last year was the theme of the year was surrender. I have always been a human that really tries to control things and be ahead of things. And sometimes in life, as we all realize when we grow up, that it's truly a roller coaster, and just having a main goal and mission and your why behind you and being solid in your purpose is all you can do, and surrender to the rest. Because I had some strict timelines and none of it happened. Now I'm looking back and it has worked out so much more beautifully.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. And this construction delay that I have been faced with as of just last week is actually perfect because my fiance is opening his own wealth management firm. And, everyone told me, you're kind of crazy for building a practice right now in this economy. And then they didn't even know that my fiance was also opening his own business.
So yeah. So
And they were already
you're
calling
some of those
me
nuts people, hey? You just
correct.
everything. If
So,
the Band-Aid, you just pull it all, pull it off.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we just, we knew we're both pretty fiery. So, but he's usually the calm, cool, collected one that keeps me, keeps the top on. And he's got a lot on his plate right now. So
Yeah.
it's my turn to exchange the favor. And so I'm grateful for some construction delays. But to your point, yeah, I have no idea when I'll be opening. So we're just going to keep on focusing on teeth in the meantime.
I think it's like no matter what your walk is just being resourceful. You can have a plan, right? But it seems like in this day and age, everything kind of it gets derailed with
Yeah.
whatever and this crazy chaos that ever
Yeah.
since 2020. Pardon me. Keeping your feet. What do you do to keep your feet on the ground though? Just mentally. What's your go-to? What's your zen?
Yeah, honestly, the last few years, just really doing a lot of inner work outside of dentistry. We can get into the CE and the dental growth. But what's really been the most important in preparing me for this roller coaster journey of opening has, learning to be a stable human, and your emotions will either break you or make you. And, the most powerful person in the room is somebody who doesn't let their emotions control their response. And I'm not saying that because I want to be the most powerful person in the room, but I do want to be um, projecting everything in a way that represents what my why is.
Yeah.
And that's really what it all starts with, is understanding my purpose and my why in both professional and personal life, because they're married. And having a solid grounding in that just brings me peace and patience. So throw whatever hurdle you want at me. It's all a part of the master plan, and it's just contributing to the why.
I love that. That's beautiful. I love how you put that. Like, um, yeah, I think, and it's growth too, right? It's those things should be, if we talk in terms of failures, it's learn fast and move forward quick. I think if you're not pushing it hard enough in life and you're not experiencing those hurdles, like
Yeah.
you might not be, at your capacity, right? And your level of where you should be growing, or maybe stagnant. How do you keep your, like mentally, do you work out? Do you like work? Do you like to read? What's sort of your escape?
I'm going to be completely honest. I have been pretty horrible at, leveling the sympathetic nervous system lately. Even back in dental school, I never pulled an all-nighter. But lately, I have so much adrenaline entering this new chapter in my life that I have had a few sleepless nights, just not out of, it is scary going off on your own, but I'm not alone. I spent a lot of time cultivating a really strong and meaningful team, and I have my fiance by my side. But it's like excitement adrenaline. Like, holy crap, I've been working for all these years to put myself in a position that I can finally do something bigger than myself. And it's happening. So, like a child before Christmas, I have not been sleeping. So April, I've been better, and just tiring myself out by going on extra long walks with my girlfriends and just letting that be both a physical and an emotional wear out, or just like talking about everything, getting the heart going. I love working out. I love group fitness because it reminds me of my childhood dancing days, being in a class with fellow humans and music. That makes me very happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up dancing, so sometimes we've got a pretty big living room, and we'll dance around in the living room. So,
love it. Like with your cat or what?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yes.
I think like it's good to just have that escape from it too. And like, man, to have people like we can't do all of this stuff on our own, regardless of what it is. Like having that support team. Yeah. That's great. That's, figuring that out. So going into this new clinic, you've got a team selected already. Like what, where are you at on that stage?
I have the back end team. So my business consultant, people that are going to help the overall mission of the clinic, but I have 0 actual team members. Mm-hmm. And I can't really start looking for them until I have an opening date, which I don't because of construction delays. So
is that where you take your deep breath right there? I felt that.
Yeah. So, in the meantime, just keeping myself busy with other tasks. Like I need a billion manuals. I have to get all of my marketing plans.
I got a solution for you. We can talk offline. I'll let you know right now. Reach out to Derek Nordstrom. He's got an awesome solution called Toothy. Yeah, it's awesome. And tell him I sent you, because there you go. It'll do it all for you. It's amazing. Anyways.
My business consultant had him at one of her big conventions, so she is also supports what he's doing.
We'll let them take credit then. Fine.
I think
either way,
credit.
Yeah. But yeah, like just alluding to that, like there's solutions there. You're not alone, and you feel that like there's people there to help you, and that's the good stuff. Like, who do you like when you envision your environment, this is, I'm sure, when you were building and thinking about building your practice, like all this good stuff. How does your clinic feel? Like like the people that are there, what does that look like in your mind?
Well, first off, you just nailed my first pillar of my business. My why is the feeling. And, my very first reason why I wanted to open wasn't actually for the patients, it was for my staff. It was for my team, because working in other clinics, it just broke my heart seeing them overrun and unappreciated. And I then bent over backwards as an associate dentist to try and make them feel valued. So I do all their dentistry for free. I would stay
that's
late
nice.
and do their Botox. And honestly, these are all things I shouldn't be doing as an associate dentist.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it got quite burdening, and it wore me out a lot. And not as the owner, it became hard to do, but it just, I really wanted to give that to them. So one of my pillars is, cultivating a growth mindset environment. And in order for people to be comfortable enough to grow, they need to be accepting of vulnerability. And in order to be vulnerable, they need to feel safe. So how do I attack all of that? Well, I think it just comes down to who I am as a person and a leader. And that's what I was alluding to in the intro of this conversation, that I've really tried delving into what it takes to be a soft leader. You can lead with compassion. You don't have to be a tyrant. And I've been practicing that on all of my team as an associate and just helping them grow and lead. So, the kind of people I want them there staff-wise, I want them there because they are interested in something bigger than themselves. They're not there for a paycheck. They are just as passionate and nerdy about making other people feel good about themselves. And in order to make other people feel good about yourself, you also have to have that clinical background, because we have to deliver a good service and a good product. So yeah, just creating that comfortable environment where people are always striving to be better. And then for the patients, I want them to step into the office and just feel like, I think I need to tell you the branding and the story.
Yeah,
because
let's dig into it. Yeah.
But I want them to feel belonged, a part of a community. And, that really hits one of the main things that humans need. They need to feel belonged and loved. And yeah, I can do that. Dentistry is a very personal thing, and that's why people are so fearful of it. And so why not just lean into that? Let's really get to know our patients.
You just kind of described every successful dentist or dental owner that I know. Like, it's all about the team. It's about the people. Is it Richard Branson that says, you take care of your people, they take care of your customers. It's so true. I think, we're focused on sort of the clinical stuff. We're focused on the technology. I think it should be, number one, should always be the people. Like,
100%.
The
technology is just a tool to help us get to the people.
Absolutely. It's a way for you to take the patient through the journey. It's a way for you to deliver better care. It's a tool for you to, like you said, and I think it's tough because, like, you're looking at the dollar signs of it. You got student debts and all that kind of.
Actually, not, which is so bad. Yeah. But it's why my wealth manager fiance kind of keeps me in line, because I'm like, the people. He's like, but the money.
Yeah.
I'm like, right, okay.
Like, he's right. Like, but I think where your head is at, if you're gonna grow a practice, obviously you love doing the small cases, the big stuff, right? Obviously. And I don't know if that's, what you're going to primarily focus on, but, in the GP practice, it's like getting people to come back, the hygiene stuff, and building from that, and then having the conversation with them about, like, hey, let's talk about orthodontics or an implant or whatever that might be. But, like, creating that comfortable environment, like, some people, it's just like, put put a fresh coat of paint on the wall. It's all these little things matter for that patient walking through the door. I'm curious, like your design, like how many operatory, like what are you focused on? Like what's your fun dentistry to do? Like what do you enjoy doing the most?
So type of dentistry, I do love smile design. I've spent the last 3 years really diving into occlusion and orthodontics and fixed resto, and more recently, some video increased cases, preferably no prep when I can, which there are absolutely limitations to that. And we're trying to avoid Lumineers 2.0 in this area of dentistry. So you need to know the limitations there. But yeah, I love smile design. And it's funny because my first few years of practice, I really resisted it. I was like, oh, everyone's telling me I got to do surgery and RCT and I have to do everything. And so I did do everything and I burnt out, and I just was resisting because I cared about what other dentists thought. I thought they'd think I'm a cop-out dentist if all I did was smile design, and they would judge me. And I'm a girl and I care about, fashion and all these things. And so it's just too cliche. It's too cliche for me to do it. And so I resisted it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I grew up and realized I don't care what other people think.
That's good. Yeah, you should.
And it's the most freeing thing ever. And I leaned into what I'm good at. I'm good at it and I love it. And it has been changing my patients' lives. And I'm like, why did I close that door on myself? But it was all a part of the journey. And so, yeah, that's what I focus on. But cosmetic dentistry may or may not be recession proof. And so I do want my clinic to be extremely focused on preventative dentistry. I want, a normal clinic's hygiene will be around the 30%. I want mine around 40, because if you have a full mouth rehab in your mouth, you should be coming every 3 to 4 months. I want to be checking on that. I want your gums, 10 out of 10. So, and the people who are willing to invest in their occlusion and their overall oral health and aesthetic like that are the people that are going to be willing to be preventative with their oral hygiene. So it does fit within my practice. But my original business plan was to be more of a boutique, small clinic and just focus on smile design and have, hygiene on the side. But things took a turn when I found my space, and it was double the size that I had envisioned for the same price.
Oh, wow.
So I took it and I said, all right, we're gonna shift. We're gonna go with it. We're changing the business plan. And this is just another example as to, thank gosh, I did shift, because I can still be boutique and focus on my cases. But now the second pillar of my why I want to open can be satisfied, which is I want to be able to spend time with my future family.
Yeah.
If I'm the only dentist at a small boutique clinic, I'm not going to be able to do that. I have to close my clinic.
Yeah.
So by having a larger clinic that also includes general dentistry, and I do aim to have specialty days where I have, I'll pay a surgeon or an endodontist or whoever at a much higher percentage and have them come into my space for convenience of my patients. I'll reserve, a day I'm not normally open, like a Monday or a Friday for that. And there we go. Now I'm not barred to the chair.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you, I think you nailed it too with you're future proofing your capacity, right? Your own capacity and, and avoiding burnout. And I think a lot of that too is self-discovery. I love the fact that who gives a shit about what other people think? Yeah. I think that is. I had to
learn that in my 30s, but better late than never.
Well, I get it. I get it, especially in the dental profession. Like you've got a lot of like really talented people, and it's like the whole political piece of it. But if some like in as an individual to be just happy in your own skin,
Yeah.
I think if you're just serving somebody else's vision, that's like a product of failure. And if you're just wearing a mask all the time, that's sad, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
being yourself and whatever that person might be. I think people just kind of gravitate towards that type of person,
Yeah.
anyways, right? So,
Yeah. You can
good
be
on
more
you. Like that's so.
honorable.
We talked about two pillars, right? How like let's get into this. I like this chat. Like what are the other pillars? Let's dive into that.
Yeah, pillar one was cultivating an environment that
Yeah.
supports staff growth and having it be a place that, really does challenge them to be the best versions of themselves professionally and personally. Um, Pillar two was creating some future freedom for myself. And I surrendered, fell into that pillar. And it really was always a pillar, but I didn't realize I was stifling it. I was not enabling it with my original business plan. So thank goodness that happened. And then, yeah, the third pillar is for the patients, creating a, I do find it funny because I find that there are a ton of dental startups right now that they're like, we're revolutionary and we are, there's these very large claims out there. And here I am coming out hot to trot, also trying to make this big claim, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be different for the sake of being different. I'm trying to just cater to a human and their feelings. And what do I have to do to make it comfortable for them? And traditionally, very paternalistic, non private dental method is not comfortable for people. And
Yeah.
so, just put myself in the patient's shoes. What's going to make them comfortable? And so that really steered my design and my philosophy of practice, which honestly, probably a lot of dentists on here wouldn't agree with. But I'm not doing this for money, but I do think that because I have that mindset, that it is going to favor my growth in the long term. For example, I aim to see less patients in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Most clinics have the mindset of quantity over quality. Maybe not quality. I don't think it's not like they're saying to themselves, I'm going to do less quality. But I do feel like they're saying to themselves, let's get more people in the chairs, in and out.
Yeah.
And as a consequence of that, you are going to lower the quality. I've worked in practices where I had an hour for new patient exams, and I've worked in practices where I had as quick as I could humanly make it, maybe 2 minutes. And what kind of difference of care am I giving with an hour or 2 minutes? I'm the
Yeah.
same dentist, but give me a different amount of time, and I'm going to be delivering a very different quality.
Yeah.
So I want to slow things down in my practice. I like to talk. I want to
Yeah.
have the freedom to talk to my patients.
You want to know your patients. You want
I
to
want to,
develop that relationship. I love that. I love it. And I fear for the industry on the whole, the whole restaurant. You talked about like the restaurant mentality
yeah.
where it's like, let's get the chairs filled, get the food out and like churn, like let's get the next people through.
Yeah.
It's a healthcare. We're treating people.
There's an analogy with restaurants actually, speaking of, there's the lunchtime crowd and the nighttime crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lunchtime crowd's going to be pissed if you go and la-di-da, like they're there, they have an hour, they got to get back to work.
Yeah.
Don't mess around, don't talk, get me my food, get out.
And
There's a time and a place for that, but
yeah. There is a time and a place, and like every veteran I've talked to, they have, it's to grow a practice. It's about acquiring new patients, but at the end of the day, it's all about keeping those patients. So
Yeah.
the more love and attention you give, the better care you give, the more you focus on them, the more conversations, the more you're linking yourself as a partner in their healthcare and their oral health. They're not only gonna be healthier when they're not at the practice, they're gonna make better decisions for themselves. They're gonna come back. They're gonna talk to you about doing more dentistry and when it's conservatively their time to do it, and that might be for some people like, wanting a better smile, right? Like then you're making the right choice for their occlusion, their function of their, everything's working the way it should be. It's not, I see it in the advertisements that are out there right now. There's just this massive focus on selling Invisalign cases. It's troubling to me. I don't know. I think there's going to be this
it's a trickle down effect because Invisalign as a company and brand themselves are really pushing dentists to do this. There's tons of seminars, as we all know, just on how to sell Invisalign. And sometimes dentists can be a little bit sheepy, and so they'll, just do what they're told. And so it works for Invisalign, but it always has to come back to the why. Why are we doing what we're doing? And if someone comes to me wanting aesthetics, but their function isn't there, I need that time with them to first be personal, gain trust. Second, have them be patient enough to listen to me as to why we have to spend the time, money, and energy into the function of their mouth before we can put the cherry on top of the sundae, which is the pretty front teeth.
Yeah.
That's the reward for, and I can't successfully have patients own their problem if I don't have the time to do it. And so I think a lot of dentists who grew up in a different generation where that's just how it was done, honestly, undervalue time and the potential ROI there. And it could be 2 years from now, but it's that ROI is still there. They're still thinking about you. They're still feeling like, wow, you're the only dentist who's ever listened to what I actually care about, to ever hear my problem, and to actually provide a solution to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. It's, but I think, the whole derail, like how it gets derailed is it the dollar signs? Is it the dollar signs that derails it all? Like it's, I don't know. What are your thoughts there?
It's hard for me to say, honestly, because I've purposely really closed my bubble over the last couple of years to only welcome colleagues and people in my personal life that have the same morals as me. And so they might not think the same way as me, which I hope they don't because I want to be challenged. But if somebody is, for example, just in this career for money, I honestly don't have a lot to talk to them about. I won't align with them, and just naturally, I'm not going to be getting into a deep conversation with them. And so I just don't get them. And, maybe this is a personal challenge of myself. I should probably try to understand these people better and just see what their angle is. But yeah, I have run into a few dental marketing companies who has been very frustrating. They're really focused on the dollar sign and they have no clinical background. So it's hard for them to appreciate, where that money is coming from. They just see the dollar sign and they're switching from doing marketing for multiple industries to just going to trying to do cosmetic dentistry because they see the dollar sign. Mm-hmm. And that frustrates me because I don't know, they just don't really get the why or the purpose. But I think probably money
now you're talking my language now.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, geez, they're like, I get it. Like there are dollar signs.
Yeah,
Some,
it's a
yeah,
shiny disco ball. It's
yeah.
very attractive, but there's a lot more to it, and it's not quick and easy, and it's not just like, um, yeah, it's frustrating.
And like, yeah, I feel it too. I do feel it too, and um, I appreciate the guys and the gals out there that are just trying to do the right thing for their patients at the end of the day, and doing the right thing materializes into the dollars, and I see it, like, and somebody that's just like, personally just in a better had a better journey with it. Like if we talk about somebody like a veteran that's hanging up the mitts at the end of the day, the ones that enjoyed it the most were the guys that have gone to every CE event and have continued to learn over their stretch. They've implemented cool new technology to make their lives interesting on a day-to-day. But ultimately, they're, like you said, it's all about like quality. It's all about spending the time and uncompromising that quality, like really diving into listening to what the patient actually wants, and then delivering on that, but also being like an advocate for that patient too, and educating and all that great stuff. It like, I don't know, it like is maybe corporate dentistry is pushing things in different directions, and is it because there's, dentistry is being driven by accountants? I don't know. I don't want to like point fingers at, I don't know. I've always wanted to be an advocate for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I definitely cut you off. Sorry. I think insurance is part of the problem because, yeah, I don't even look if my patients have insurance or not, because I really don't want it to make me bias on the treatment plan. And it's always a little, I mean, most of what I do is not covered by insurance anyways, which is nice, because the hurdle of having to educate patients that, hey, did you know that Canadian dental insurance companies are the most profitable business in Canada, and they don't actually care about you? It's kind of about how you educate people on the difference of what they'll cover versus what is good for you.
Yeah.
I find that if people are insurance driven, dentists or patients alike, that they're going to be coming to the office with problems every year because they did the bare minimum.
Yeah.
As the crown wasn't covered, but the filling was. And maybe the dentist doesn't have a full preventative mindset or full understanding of occlusion. And this poor patient thinks it's their fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they come back every year and they're frustrated. And it's like, if you had just invested a little bit more in year one and kind of looked at the whole problem, and the dentist was able to have comprehensive understanding of the function of the occlusion, then yeah, you would have invested more in the beginning, but you saved yourself the heartache, the time, and the money in the long run. So that's my philosophy on practice. But
Yeah.
I have one quick example of a time, and I still am not over it. I have to get over it. But I did a virtual consult with a patient, and I was trying to prioritize the patient and like meet with them and make sure they know that I feel that it's important that I spend my time on them. But it ironically backfired, because in order to meet with them, I had to run out to my car on a busy clinic day during my lunch break and cram this call in. So I'm not in the best mindset to be doing a consultation. There's only so much you can do over a phone. And I did end up seeing them in person, but it was at a clinic where I didn't have enough time to really help them understand. And I was really focusing on why they needed Invisalign. And this person, they actually did. They had like a crossbite, which you don't have to fix all crossbites, to be fair. But this one was contributing to a posterior interference. I'm sorry, hopefully dentists are listening, but
I get it too. I get it too.
She needed Invisalign. She came wanting her front teeth fixed. They were all chipped and ragged. It wasn't trauma. It was due to her bite. I was trying to help her understand that, but I obviously failed because she ended up going to another clinic, getting a second opinion, at which that dentist said, "Your bite's perfect. No problem. I'm going to do some composite on your front teeth for you." And I know that those fillings are going to break, probably within 6 months. And so it just like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not God. I'm not that much of a predictor, but based on my understanding, I'm quite confident that they will not last. And I just don't feel comfortable with providing treatment plans to people that I know are going to fail. But the learning lesson there for me, because I actually called her after and I said, "Hey, I'm really in this growth mindset right now. I'd really like to understand what went wrong. And if you'd be willing to, be honest with me, like don't spare my feelings, please just be honest." And she said, "I was annoyed that you were so pushy with Invisalign and that you didn't give me the option of just doing the fillings."
Right.
And she's right. I didn't give her that option because I wanted to only give her the ideal. But it's not my decision, it's hers.
Yeah.
I could tell her, "Hey, these are going to fail." She might still want them. She might just want the teeth to look good for like an event that weekend. That's not my choice. So that was a really good learning lesson for me that yes, I'm all spend the time, educate them on what's ideal, but also give them the freedom to make their own choice.
Yeah.
So
And
that was hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they say? You could bring a horse to the water, right? That's tough. Yeah. And driven by the aesthetics of this. Yeah. That'd be very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're like, how do you get away from that though? How do you like get away from like trying to offer the right options and them choosing sort of the most negative of the options? Like, how do you?
Yeah, I try to just be really fair and that's why I also need the time because I'll present them ideal. Yeah. And then I kind of gauge them. Everyone's going to respond differently, but everyone deserves to know all their options. So even if, I'll still say now, I'll still present to them like the crappy option that immediately satisfies their chief concern, but there's a disclaimer. And 99% of the time, they're like, "Oh, no, I wouldn't even consider that." But, there is going to be that 1% that's like, "That's the ticket. That's what I want to do." Mm-hmm. So I still have to present it. But I feel like marketing's been very helpful. I've been vulnerable and put myself out there on the internet, which I hate, but it has helped to draw people to me in my chair that I get along with. And half the time I feel like I'm just hanging out with my friends. Yeah. And it's so funny. The team is like, "Oh, how long have you been friends with that person for?" And I was like, "Oh, I just met them." Yeah. And they were like, "Oh, I can never tell who's your actual friend and who's your patient." I'm like, "They're all friends."
Yeah. And that's good marketing. Like that's for a dental practice. That's the way it should go. And good on you to put yourself out there because
it's hard.
It is hard, but like that's the first opportunity for somebody it's a one-sided way for them to start the relationship with you, like getting to know you, especially like putting video out there and like I've been in a position where new clinic owner like yourself, it's like, I just don't like the idea that there's a video of me out there. Yeah. And it's sad that she ended up like turning it off, but like that's the result. It's you want to match up with the folks that like are part of that vision that you're creating. They're coming to the practice to get what you're putting out there. It's if they want some other type of dentistry, go to those other folks. Like you're going to be more happy and you're going to like it's an amazing thing. Like you're going to have folks coming through the door and connecting with you. And I think that's it right there. That's the human part of it.
Yeah. I'm not even sad about missing out on the case. It's that I'm sad that I like the way I made her feel, because that's what's important to me. I can never tell her. I had to be professional, of course. And I never said, hey, your fillings are going to break. Like I never said, I just said, I wish you the best. Like,
I bet you that's probably not going to be the last, but I think you can minimize that with like good marketing. But everybody's got our freedom of choice, right? Like it's tough. It's tough, especially when you're looking at somebody, I'm sure, and you're looking at their occlusion and the right route, or they might not have the financial capacity to. That's another tough part of it too.
I mean, it's pretty amazing now with injection molding what we can do for people, even in a full mouth restoration case. We can just slowly transition them to porcelain over the years, and that's been a really cool, like with digital dentistry, that's made it very accessible to people, and that's covered by insurance, and that's awesome. Great for people.
What like technology wise, let's dive into that. Like what are you going to have at the practice technology wise? Are you going to have like full CBCT? What does that look like for you?
What do I want versus what I can afford?
Maybe that was a better question.
Conversations. So your girl's broke. So I will not have a CBCT to start, but I do have some amazing colleagues who are just up the road from me and have offered to just send people their way. I have a few colleagues who have one, and they have the same practice style that I'm aiming for in terms of the type of dentistry that will be making the majority of my portfolio. And they don't even pay off their interest on the machine. So I don't know if I need one, to be honest. And that's something that I will figure out in the first year. So if I need it, great, I'll buy it. I do definitely want to have a printer and CEREC and all that.
Nice.
But that's a lot of training for this team.
Yeah.
And I think we've got enough on our plates, just getting the office to an easy breezy functioning standpoint. So I envision that in a year when I have more finances, and the biggest hurdle is just having more emotional capacity on all of us to take that learning on.
Right. Waving a magic wand, where are you like 5 years from now?
I am pregnant or with child, and I have 1 or 2 associate dentists helping float things while I start my family. I potentially have a second small space for hygiene and whitening and a portrait studio, because I do a lot of photography, which has been a super fun thing to provide my patients for free at the end of their smile makeover, like a celebratory moment that we get to have. And selfishly, it's also great for marketing.
Huge.
So, that's kind of what I envision. Nothing too crazy. My fiance and I are very similar in the mindset of we are perfectly happy to hustle and keep our heads low at this point in our life. And we don't have the desire to travel like a lot of people our age. We do one day, but right now we're really, really satisfied with building our careers. Like it truly brings us happiness and it fulfills our purpose. And so I've had a lot of senior colleagues critique me for being too aggressive in my continuing education. Like, why are you getting to this level already? You should enjoy life. It's not all about dentistry, Nicole. And the ironic part is that is why I am pushing so hard right now, because I do want to enjoy life. And I am a woman with aging ovaries. And I'm trying to set this up so that I have the freedom in the future.
Yeah.
At my clinic, I could bring a baby in and nurse it whenever I want in my office. I have the freedom to do that. It's my space. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that as an associate. There's just so many more red tape. So that's a part of why I was it was exhausting
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, financially. Like I went hard, but I'm really proud of where I am clinically. I speak about cases with my senior colleagues, and they're like, frick, that took me 30 years to learn that. Like, how do you know that? And I was like, well, I just was vulnerable and I leaned into learning from other people's mistakes and giving up frickin' every single weekend and evening of my life for the past 5 years.
Good for you, Nicole. That's awesome. Like that's inspiring. Good for you. I love it.
Sorry, I feel like that was braggy, but
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm
It's
trying to help older dentists understand why I was like so.
Yeah, keep on it. Like, and again, back to the who gives a shit about what other people think. Yeah. It's all about what you want out of life. It's not their path; it's your path, and that's what you want to do. That makes sense to me. I should connect you. There's a great dentist in close by here, Dr. Leanna Lunt. Same sort of thing. Like it's a very family oriented practice. Her kids are there. Like I brought my daughter there, and Mackenzie's like terrified of the dentist, and her daughter is like, it's okay, Mackenzie, like her age and stuff. It's like, like it's all about like what you're doing in your community, how you're serving the people in your practice. And if you're going to get all the CE in the world, the more you know, the more you can treat your patients. Like I find it weird that somebody would like say that that's not the right choice. And like everybody that's gone down the CE route is like, in my view, has really enjoyed their career. It really like your scope of practice, your ability to do things for your patients, I think isn't that the name of the game, right?
Yeah. I also was quite influenced that a lot of my senior colleagues said, whatever I did in my first 5 years, I hung on to that. Like they find themselves having that same clinical habits 30 years out. So
is that right?
I mean, that I've heard that. I'll let you know in 30 years. But
there you go. Yeah, we'll do this 30 years.
Yeah. That scared me. That was inspiring and scary because I'm like, okay, like let's really set the foundation. Let's get things quality so that I can focus on other things later.
It sounds like you got things really attuned, like you got a good grasp. So that's, I think you'll be the type that always goes and gets the latest and greatest, whatever CE thing, just because I think, we're nerds. We're curious about stuff, right? Nicole, this has been amazing. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you just really wanted to talk about, or is there anything inspiring that or a quote that you live by?
Basically, I just think that we all need to lean into ourselves and figure out what we want our legend to be. And that means figuring out what's something bigger than yourself. What is your contribution to community? I think that's what legacy means. And in order to figure that out, you need to figure out who you are. And I think I've never really put a name to it, but just over the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of thinking about it as like a ripple effect where, for dentists specifically, the person that you are talking to in the chair is often not actually who they are. They've got a guard up, they've got a front up. And so figuring out a way to actually figure out who that person is. And every human that you interact with, this is for dentists and just humans alike in the world, every human is an opportunity for you to make a connection and to learn and grow from them. But better yet, to make someone feel seen and loved. And if you can do that for one person, you've just done that for like 20 or 30 or countless, because now that person is going to go and be like, I feel good. I'm going to make someone else feel good. And then it
Mm.
just keeps spreading. So I think people just, if we can just think about that instead of ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. Like full-heartedly. I might be a better place right now if more people were like less selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. But
Yeah, that's a big
Nic-
topic.
Nicole, this has been great. Keep me posted on how the practice is developing. I'll keep an eye on things for you. Thank you so much for your time. We had to reschedule here, but this has been awesome.
Thank you for your time.